Section 14C of the Fair Labor Standards Act is the federal subminimum wage provision that allows organizations with a 14C certificate to pay employees with disabilities less than minimum wage. The U.S. Department of Labor refers to these organizations as employers. These organizations must apply to receive the 14C certificate from the U.S. Department of Labor Wage and Hour Division. This is a controversial topic of much debate right now across the country.
My name is Christa Preston, and today I'm going to be sharing my story about 14C. I had a brother with severe cognitive and physical disabilities, and if we'd been having this debate 2 decades ago, my family and I would have been advocating for 14C. But as my brother grew older, my family and I made a decision to move him into a group home. It was a very difficult decision as we believed it was our job to protect and care for him. Little did we know that this would actually be a turning point in his life. In his new environment, he thrived and he demonstrated levels of independence we'd never imagined. He proudly showed us his apartment, his own space, and his newfound sense of independence. And as a sibling, I couldn't help but feel a mix of happiness for him, but also guilt for the limitations we'd imposed on him for so long. I really found myself wondering what opportunities had we denied him because of our assumptions? What could he have achieved if we'd given him the opportunity to work and make choices for himself? What had we denied him by assuming 14C was enough? This guilt drove me to action, and I started working for a nonprofit leading an employment program that placed individuals with intellectual disabilities into competitive employment. And there I saw firsthand how individuals flourished when they were given the chance to break free of the constraints of 14C. With the knowledge I have gained through this experience, I can no longer advocate for 14C. I may never be rid of the guilt for what I denied my brother, but I can work to ensure that hundreds of others like him have the opportunities my brother was denied.
You said you and your family would have advocated for 14C 2 decades ago. Do you remember your perception of the subminimum wage provision at that time?
I remember when I first heard about 14C, it wasn't, this is 14C, it's subminimum wage. It was, this is an opportunity for individuals to try work. And my father had actually started a 14C program at a nonprofit. So we had really good feelings about what 14C was. We saw it as an opportunity.
A turning point for you was when your brother entered a group home. What was that experience like for your family? How did that shift your perspective on 14C?
So making the decision to move someone into a group home is a very difficult decision for any family. One, again, because we think we have the responsibility to protect and care, but the other side, we're so often told the negative side of group home care. We didn't think, what if we just try it? What if we give him the opportunity to make a choice for himself? And that's when I really realized how programs like 14C were setting limitations. They were allowing people to say, this is a great opportunity for you, instead of allowing people like my brother to say, this is what I want to do.
What was your role working in the employment program?
So I worked at a nonprofit as an associate director of an employment services program, and this was in a state where competitive employment was prioritized. And I saw how they just developed outside of those constraints of 14C.
How are people with disabilities affected by 14C?
So I can't speak for someone with a disability to say how they're affected by 14C. But what I can say is there are unintentional assumptions coming with 14C. There are unintentional limitations being put on people. For example, creating a career from a 14C position is near impossible. What we need to be doing is presenting more opportunities for people and for businesses to rise to regular minimum wage instead of allowing limitations to be set just because someone has a disability.
So for everything you have learned, how do you feel today about 14C?
From everything I've learned through my experience and my work, I certainly cannot advocate for 14C. I have seen the limitations that it sets on people and the perceptions that it creates about individuals with disabilities. So I have to say this is the time when we need to phase out 14C.